Hello and welcome to the NCS4 webinar on the 2022 Venue Security Industry Report. I am Dr. Stacey Hall, Executive Director and Professor of Sport Management. Alongside me is Dr. Jocelyn Sale, Senior Research Associate. We will briefly present the results from the Industry Research Report, and I hope our viewers will have an opportunity to read the full report available on our website under Research.
Thank you, Dr. Hall, and welcome everyone. The purpose of this project was to explore professional sport venue security issues, emerging threats, and technology solutions. We did this with an online survey which was administered over a 3-week period. It had 48 questions related to venue demographics, staffing and training, fan behavior, technology utilization, patron screening, cybersecurity, and drone mitigation. The questions were primarily Likert scale, yes, no, and ranking. The survey was administered to 131 venue security directors hosting professional sports leagues in North America. The response rate was 30.5% or 40 participants, which is important to ensure statistical validity of the results. The top bullet point here shows the breakdown among the professional leagues, and you can see that it is somewhat evenly distributed among all of them. Most of the venues were outdoor venues. However, 35% were indoor and 20% were both indoor and outdoor. We also found that the maximum venue capacity ranged from slightly over 10,000 to 80,000, while most venues accommodated slightly over 10,000 to 50,000. We also found that the average attendance at each venue ranged from less than 10,000 to 70,000, while most venues hosted 10,000 to 30,000. %90 of venues used a third-party security provider, and all of them required background checks on contracted security staff. Most of them also required background checks on full-time staff. We found that 67.5% of participants required or have contracted security staff. Most venues experienced security staff shortages in the past year, largely due to COVID-19 and staff not showing up for work. Most of them also took action to mitigate staff shortages, and the most common actions taken were increased hourly wage, complimentary food, discounted ticket prices, and other. Other actions included awarding a bonus per event, enhancing employee recognition, giving gift cards for referrals and job performance, hiring more third-party staff, using security screening technology, establishing mutual aid agreements, and leveraging out-of-town resources. All participants indicated that some type of training was required for security staff. The most commonly indicated trainings included those related to venue event familiarization, prohibited items, fan code of conduct, how to operate security technology, standard operating procedures, and crowd management. Facilitated in-person training was the most common delivery method, and other delivery methods included tabletop exercises, routine refresher courses, e-learnings, workshops, drills, and virtual PowerPoints.
Thank you, Dr. Sale. Moving along to the fan behavior theme, event organizers and venue operators have been dealing with the rising number of fan incidents upon returning to events since the beginning of the pandemic. Most venue security directors in our study believe fan behavior is worse or much worse than it was 10 years ago. And 65% indicated that COVID-19 restrictions caused increased tension between patrons and staff. The study also highlighted alcohol abuse as the most common form of inappropriate fan behavior, closely followed by fights between patrons. Then there was quite a drop off to the next items, property damage and violence against staff members. The other category included cannabis consumption, smoking, vaping, not following building protocols, and the use of profane and abusive language. Venue directors also expressed the most concerning fan behaviors, which primarily included acts of violence among fans or against staff members. Weapons were also a concern, which reinforces the importance of screening. It is important to note here that we did ask venue directors if they had an ejection policy in place, and all of our respondents do have an ejection policy in place, and it's communicated through various channels, including the website, venue signage, video boards, and venue announcements. Venue security directors are always concerned with the safe ingress, egress, patrons, as well as patron movement within the venue. Some of the crowd management strategies employed by our respondents included implementing an alcohol policy, utilizing directional and informational signage and announcements, using crowd barriers and staff to direct crowd movement, and designating entry gates with staggered entry times. Some of the venues also use RFID apps for real-time tracking of crowd movement for situational awareness. It's also good to know that venue directors are keeping track of the number and types of incidents and are analyzing that data to assist with future planning. The majority also reference industry research and other information to inform their policies and operational procedures. We asked venue directors what technologies they employed at the start of the most recently completed season. We had a very long listing of technologies and tools, so I will refer you to the full report to review. The first bullet point highlights the technologies and tools that all of our respondents use, and some of those items are probably no surprise to our viewers. As a follow-up question, we also wanted to know what technologies and tools they would purchase if additional funding was available. Some of those top requests included facial recognition systems and microchip readers. The top listed items under the most sought after resources were among the least used technologies, and therefore suggest that such technologies and tools will be used in the future when budgets permit.
So, switching gears into patron screening, we found that most participants stated that their entry screening checkpoints caused lines to form outside their venues. They also indicated that the busiest pre-event time at a screening checkpoint was less than 10 minutes. About 1/3 of the participants experienced security incidents between patrons waiting to enter the venue. Most participants indicated that they use some sort of patron screening technology, and the most commonly used technologies were walk-through metal detectors, handheld magnetometers, and X-ray scanners. We found that slightly more than half of participants use industry standard technology, but will need something better soon, while the other half of the participants use new technology now. If participants were able to acquire new patron screening technologies, they would most likely acquire facial recognition systems, millimeter wave scanners, and explosive particle detectors. This is particularly interesting because, as Dr. Hall covered previously, facial recognition system was a technology that participants indicated that they would purchase if additional funding was available. We also found that 20% of survey respondents use artificial intelligence in their screening, surveillance, or incident response operations, and about 2/3 of participants believe they understand the extent to which AI can help those operations. We asked participants to rank technology improvements that they would like their patron screening technology to have, and you can see that the first item is to get patrons into the venue faster without sacrificing accuracy. In addition to these 5 items on the screen, participants also indicated that they would like their patron screening technology to improve accuracy in discerning different types of weapons, to detect non-metal contraband and blood alcohol concentration, and to consider that ticket scanning causes bottlenecks and pushes the security perimeter farther from the venue structure.
The last two areas the survey covered were the emerging threats of cybercrime and drone intrusion. Cybercrime has increased significantly since the beginning of the pandemic, and sport organizations are not immune to cyber risks such as ransomware attacks and phishing scams. There has been notable incidents in professional sports, so it is a concern which requires incident response plans and staff training. Results from the survey indicate that the majority of respondents have a cyber defense program, train full-time staff, and educate patrons on informational security. Drone intrusion is another potential threat that is gaining attention. Over 80% observed or detected unauthorized drone activity around their venues. The number of sightings ranged from 1 to over 10,000 in the last year, and on 3 occasions, drones interfered with event operations. In concluding the report, we provided industry recommendations, and I wanted to highlight some of those here. First, provide training for event staff in de-escalation, crowd management, and active shooter response. Consider both in-person training supplemented with e-learning programs. Communicate venue and spectator policies often and through multiple channels. Also consider engaging league offices to promote responsible behavior. Explore technology solutions that best fit operational needs and budget. Implement drone mitigation strategies and stay abreast of counter UAS technologies and tools and applicable laws. Create a cybersecure aware culture, and continue to benchmark with peers and leverage research and industry resources to inform plans, policies, and procedures moving forward. The report also provides a listing of resources available through academic centers, professional associations, and government agencies. So again, I will refer you to the full report for that listing. This concludes our presentation. Dr. Sale and I would like to thank the NCS4 staff and research affiliates. I would also like to note that this report was made available with the support of the NCS4 Technology Alliance. We thank our Technology Alliance members for their input and contributions to the NCS4 portfolio of resources.